how did they blow this Jimmy Garoppolo situation? Because I think we can all agree that they blew it. So how did they do that?
They blew it. Honestly, if I could put it in one sentence, it's by not acting with any urgency whatsoever.
Yeah.
They didn't act with any urgency when they made the trade to move up to 3 to eventually pick Trey Lance. They didn't act with any urgency when they let Jimmy Garoppolo just sit on the roster all year last year, didn't develop Lance hardly at all, and they didn't act with any urgency this offseason after the first 2 big quarterback dominoes fell. Aaron Rodgers returning to Green Bay and Russell Wilson getting traded to Denver. They just were content to let everything happen, and now here they are. They're stuck because there's basically one landing spot left for Jimmy Garoppolo, and the 49ers are either looking at the prospect of hopefully dumping him to Carolina or keeping him on the roster going into training camp. It's just been terrible by the 49ers for a year.
And I don't even see Carolina as being super viable. I mean, they don't have a second-round pick or a third-round pick this year, and they have Sam Darnold, so they'd have to take on a lot of money and offer the Niners something next year. So I guess it could be them, but wow, what a come down.
It's just been a debacle for the 49ers. Like, I don't understand. Did they not realize what was going to happen? Like, everyone, people have been saying, well, they couldn't have foreseen Tom Brady coming back. 6 days after Tom Brady retired, he said, well, you never know what could happen. 6 days. Like, Come on. The idea that this just happened to the 49ers is absurd. And if you're letting them off the hook, I don't know what you ever want us to hold them responsible for. They have botched this big time.
Also, the other big thing other than Tom Brady was Deshaun Watson. Him being cleared and then being on the market. I mean, everyone knew he had a big grand jury date coming up. Like that shouldn't have caught them by surprise. Maybe the Niners thought he would get indicted, in which case they guessed wrong. Or maybe they just didn't understand the effect of Watson being released onto the open market, what that would do to their market for Jimmy Garoppolo if it existed. So they blew that one. That was a big one.
I find it hard to believe that the 49ers got no offers for Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, the Steelers never made an offer for Jimmy Garoppolo before they decided to hitch their wagon to Mitchell Trubisky. Like, really? They never made you an offer? I know Albert Breer had a piece today that the Niners were waiting for Deshaun Watson to get traded. But, like, when you have the weakest card at the table, you can't hold on to it. You got to play it before everybody else plays theirs.
Let's compare what the 49ers did to what the Colts did. Colts are in the same position, right? Didn't want their quarterback, wanted to offload him, get someone new. So the Colts traded Wentz for 2 third-round picks. Am I wrong about that? 2/3. I think that's right.
I can't remember the specifics.
I think the second third can become a second if, he plays really well. So they got 2/3 for Wentz before Deshaun Watson was cleared. Then they traded 1/3 for Matt Ryan. So they upgraded at quarterback and acquired. I got a net positive in their trade. The Niners, on the other hand, still have Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's the end of the story. So, I mean, look, the Niners have done a lot of good things the last 5 years. They've built this up from the bottom. But just this offseason, what they're doing right now compared to another team that had the same situation, it's night and day.
I just... Everywhere you look on this roster this offseason, like the 49ers went into the roster thinking the only thing they had to patch up was the special teams. Like, really? Because that's what it seems like, right? Like, I don't care what they say. I care about what they do. And I'm just not seeing it anywhere. Again, it goes back to the whole urgency thing. Like, look at Cincinnati, right? They go into the offseason. What's their biggest need? Offensive line. Bam. They have 3 new starting offensive linemen. The Bills were 15 seconds away, right? Against the Chiefs. The Bills have gone into this offseason like their hair is on fire. They're bringing in people left, right, and center. 49ers, it's crickets. I mean, Charvarius Ward is a great signing. That's an awesome move by the 49ers. But you got to do more than one good thing in the offseason.
They're acting like a team that missed the playoffs last year. It's really strange. And the thing about the special teams, you said, like, they're addressing it. Yeah, but, like, look, the guys they got are really good on special teams, especially Odom. That dude is really good on special teams, but so was Sherfield. So was Cannon. Trent Cannon is a phenomenal gunner. He had 7 tackles in 11 games for the Niners. So, yeah, I mean, they added some great pieces They lost some great pieces. I don't know how much better the special teams is. Like, how good is Ray McLeod really at his fumbling problem? I mean, I have questions about that. But anyway, that's kind of off the point. The Niners blew this Jimmy Garoppolo situation. They probably could have gotten something good for him maybe in that time frame when the Colts traded Wentz. I think that was their time, and I think they missed it.
Do you think, can I just ask you a quick question,
Please.
sorry, before you get to that? Is it possible that Washington wanted Jimmy Garoppolo, but Jimmy said, I don't want to go there? And this would have been obviously before his no trade clause expired.
Now, Vish explained this to me, and Vish is very smart. Vish is the person I go to explain.
Yes, he is.
He said that no trade clause was moot because although you would agree to the deal whenever it wouldn't become official until after the league year started. And that's after his no trade clause expired. So, I mean, if they wanted to do right by Jimmy and Jimmy was like, hey, I don't want to go to Washington, and John Lynch is like, okay, I'll honor your wish, then that's one thing. But actually, I don't think his no trade clause had any impact this off. That's what Vish said. It seemed to make sense to me.
Well, but at the same time, like, would Washington had then wanted to work out a new contract with Jimmy? Because if that's the case, and Jimmy says, hey, I don't want to be there, I'm not going to do a new contract with you.
There you go.
That's essentially a de facto no trade clause.
You see, you're very smart too. Exactly. It's like Washington could say, we would trade for Jimmy, but we don't want to. Who would want to trade for 1 year of a quarterback? Doesn't make sense. We're going to want 2-3 years of Jimmy Garoppolo. And Jimmy's like, well, let me just tell you right now, it's not going to happen.
Right.
All right. Well, it's off the table. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. I'm going to take one quick question. Then we're going to get back to the show. Is it possible for the Niners to take on Sam Darnold in a Jimmy trade to possibly reconstruct his contract, making him a backup, or is it too much money? Sam Darnold is so bad. He's awful. He's really bad.
Awful.
So bad.
Does all the things that Jimmy does, but he does all Jimmy's bad things worse. He turns the ball over more. He fumbles the ball more. There is no reason to want Sam Darnold anywhere near this team.